So the Tikkun is Zoyar. The Zoyar says it's early Kabbalah, so we have to have some Zoyar. The Tikkun is Zoyar, the Medrash, and the Medrash states the voice of the Aseres HaDibros was heard from all 6 directions. It says the Eibishter's voice was heard from all sides, from above, around surrounding, right? Above and below, north, south, and east and west, which reflects the revelation of the higher worlds within the lower worlds. That means, in essence, it was a situation that came about that there was no voice that came from a specific place. When you say, in essence, the Medrash and the Kabbalah wants to say that the voice came from all sides, in essence, is saying not that it was surround sound. The Eibishter had a very unbelievable sound system. He was the first surround sound system. I mean, that can be done. We can do that today. We don't need God to do that. So what the Zohar wants to say is that that the world and the world was like became part of a different reality. In the world in general, things come from specific points. Things even in Beis Hamikdash, things came from specific points. But Matan Torah happened something even different than even the temple itself. That so to say was a surround. It came from a situation that was above a specific place. It was above place, and so to say, there was no place that you could say, "Oh, the voice came from this place." Right? It came from all places, seemingly. It was a voice that surrounded, that transformed the world, so to say. So, which reflects revelation. A higher, it's not this world comes in everything comes from its place. Everything has its place. The relation, I said, is that it was a revelation of the Ein Sof, which is beyond limit of space, and even beyond the content of space itself, as it's higher than Kav. So we have, as we say, we have space. We have the source of space, and you have something that's higher than even the source of space. Right? So that's the Kabbalistic concept. So you have time and space, and then you have the Shorish, the source of time and space, which in Kabbalah is Kav. This Kav that came through Tzimtzum, through the contraction came a Kav that gave the capability to go for time and space, and then you have something that's beyond time and space. So, for example, like Yud-Kei Vav-Kei is infinity, is past, present, and future in the same time. But when you say past, present, and future in the same time, that means it's past, present, and future, but that's the same time, which is hard for us to comprehend. But there's past, present, and future. If there was no past, present, and future, there wouldn't be past, present, and future. So that they say that there's past, present, and future at the same time, that means that in the same time, there's past, present, and future. So there's already past, present, and future in that time. That's why it's a shayrish for future, past, present, and future.
Past, present.
Okay, because it's in there already. It's in there already. Past, present, which a normal eye cannot see. In this, it's called in Kabbalah Ayu'uli, like a flintstone. A flintstone can be in water. Why? It can be in water, but from this flintstone comes fire. How is it possible for the flintstone that comes fire to be in water? Because it's only Hayu'uli, it's only the capability of fire within the stone. But if there wasn't the capability of fire within the stone, you wouldn't have a spark come. But since it's only the capability, therefore it can be in water. The water does not contradict it. So too, the concept of when you have the aspect of Atzilus is the same concept of Chassidus. Atzilus has all the 10 Sfirot, but it's such a great revelation that they're all beskalus, they're all united. But even though they're united, there's still the 10 Sfirot of Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus. So too, and so to say again, in the concept of Kav, so to say, in this capability, has within it the aspect of everything. Just like you have another expression, another way of saying this, every human being has within it the capability of everything. Ultimately comes out one concept, or two concepts, or three concepts. But to say that I don't have the capability of everything, yes. I have the capacity and the capability of everything. I can do everything. My neshama has all capacities. Ultimately, what's going to come out is maybe one or two, three or four things, or maybe one thing, or maybe nothing. But the capacity, there's nothing that the neshama is not capable of doing. There's nothing you can't do. That's why the famous example is given that a blind person can have a child that sees. Because not that he doesn't have the capacity of sight. Ultimately, it didn't come out sight in his kalim. But does he have in his neshama the capability of sight? 100%. And therefore he can have a child that can see. Because his neshama could see, has the capacity of sight. So to this aspect. So you have these three levels. There's many levels within these levels. But within these levels is the way it comes, the way it's above time and space, the way it's in time and space. But it's still a potential, and the way it ultimately comes out in time and space.
Would you say that the Torah is past, present, and future itself? Because it talks about all of those things, and when you're holding it, I mean, in a sense,
smell that milk. Yeah. Yeah.
When you're
yeah.
when you're holding the Torah, in a sense, like you're outside of that. Past, present.
Yeah, because the same thing. You're right. The Torah has within it something that's above space, something that gives the potential of creation. The Torah the world was created through the Torah, and ultimately the Torah affects the world. That's what the Torah has within it, all capacities. That's what the Talmud Torah Keneged Kula. A mitzvah is only in space. There's no mitzvah, so to say, that is above time and space. A mitzvah comes into space. Torah is both. Torah is a mitzvah, and at the same time, Torah is above the world. And Torah creates the world. Torah has everything in it. That's the power of Torah. Talmud Torah Keneged Kula. Nothing greater than learning Torah. So when a Jew experiences this revelation of the higher worlds, they experience it within the bounds of space itself. So that's the beauty. I mean, that's what the Rebbe is talking. The Rebbe is talking about learning Torah. When we learn Torah, we're learning Torah in time and space. It's 6:30 in the morning. We need coffee to get us up. So we're in time and space. But we're by learning Torah, we're experiencing a revelation that is above time and space, that has no limitation. That's beyond comprehension in a way. As much as we can comprehend, at the same moment, this concept is above the aspect of comprehension. As I said, this oir is above as much as this oir, what we're learning right now, comes into a seichel. We can understand it and we can comprehend it. And the Torah wants us to comprehend it. Torah doesn't want that it should be in tongues, so to say, and we should not comprehend it, just to take it as face value. No, Ladas Hashem, you have to have knowledge of God. You got to understand the Eibishter according to your capacity. Not somebody else's capacity, according to my capacity, according to each and everyone's capacity. At the same moment, you have to realize, whatever I comprehend is above comprehension also. The same concept has within it much deeper concepts. Is a much deeper aspect. Is a much spiritual aspect. There's greater, deeper concepts in this. And then you see that when you go to yeshiva, when you learn Torah in general, if you ever went, you learned it as a 5-year-old, you learned the Torah as an 8-year-old, you learned it as a 10-year-old, you learned it as a 12-year-old, and then you learned it as a 50-year-old and above. And the same pasuk has changed. Because there's Rashi, and then you learned it according to the Rambam, and then according to the Ramban, and according to the Rashba, and then you went even deeper according to Chassidus, and you journeyed in the same pasuk, and you're never ending that journey. Because you're going higher and higher and deeper, and you're finding more deeper concepts, and Torah is never ending. And you have the revelation of today's great rabbis who bring out great, deep concepts in Torah knowledge.
According to today's...
Oh yeah, according to their understanding. And that's beautiful. Who's a wise man learns from everybody. Takes the learning from everybody. It's possible to learn from everybody. So they heard the voice as it was coming from all six. They were within space. That was the miracle. So the miracle was that the voice, that was understand why it says that the voice was a miracle itself. Kol Hashem. It was a miraculous concept. The voice itself, that was heard from the Eibishter, was a voice that was miraculous. Why? Because it was they heard voices that they heard a voice, not voices, a voice that came from all space, from above time and space, in space, which broke them. That's why Niftru. That's why they died, because it was the voice itself. Its expression is They saw what is usually heard, and they heard what is usually seen. What happened was that the whole world was turned over, right? What was usually seen, it was usually heard, things that you hear, they saw it. The voice penetrated them. That they saw it in a way, they heard it in a way of seeing. And suddenly everything what they usually see became what they heard. Which happens usually when your neshama goes lamaila. That's why it says when your neshama goes lamaila, it stops turvy. Whatever you think is important in this world becomes unimportant. Whatever you thought was unimportant in this world, what you hear, you think is unimportant, is suddenly very important in the upper world. It's topsy-turvy, which is too late by then. Hopefully you came there with some luggage of good stuff. Because if not, it's gonna be a shocking situation. It's gonna be a shocking. That's the worst Gehenna when you're a shock situation, traumatic situation. What's a trauma? A trauma is when you're not used to this situation. You're put in a situation, it's traumatic. Why? Because you're not used to the situation. So you imagine come l'mayla and you're not used to the situation. It's basically alien to you. So that's why it says Ashmi Shabala Kam V'Talmudoi B'Yadoi. Great is somebody, the Tana said, great is somebody who comes to heaven with Talmudoi, he comes with luggage. Talmudoi, his learning is in his hand. Everything else is nothing. His learning, when it comes, his learning, not even mitzvahs, his learning. His mitzvahs is going to be for Elam Haba, it's for the future. His learning, it comes l'mayla, is his learning. His learning, limit Torah. His learning is in his hands. Because his learning, that's where he's going to receive it. From his Torah, he receives in Gan Eden. His mitzvahs, he receives in Elam Haba, in the world to come. That's where his mitzvahs are going to come into greater play. But his learning comes into play in Gan Eden. Because it won't be a shock to him. And it will be. So you learn now. So it's not a shock to you learning. Knowledge is not a shock to you. Come to Ma'ila, it's not a shock to you either. Because you'll have a greater knowledge. Because you were searching knowledge. So you're going to, that's why, imagine you're searching knowledge here, and you come after 120 years, and there you see the knowledge. You're going to go from class to class, to class to class. You're never going to stop learning. You're going to keep on learning. You're going to, big teachers. Nothing. I'm not being there. I'm staying here. So you got to get new teachers, baby. Much better teachers. They're going to be sitting learning and learning and learning and learning. You're going to go crazy. You're not going to go to sleep because you're going to want to learn more. Unlimited learning. I'm a chaya. So, yeah, it's going to be unlimited, undimensional. No sounds will be from all sides, surround sound. It's going to be unbelievable. Torah direct. Even though the 6 directions remain 6 different directions. So they heard it from 6 directions. Again, when you say 6 directions, there's 6 directions. The second, like I said before, when you say the past, present, future in the same time, there's past, present, future. If there's no past, present, future, it doesn't make sense at the same time. So it's when you say that they heard the voice for 6 directions, there's 6 directions. At the same time that there's 6 directions, it's still the same time. That's the miraculous thing. Because usually if there's 6 directions, imagine if you hear voices for 6 directions, if you try it out for 6 directions, you're going to get mixed up. Because it's going to be very confusing. 6 directional voice. And everybody saying something is going to be mixing up to a human being. But the Eibishter, God can do that. Nevertheless, the voice came from all 6 directions at once, reflecting the fact that space itself was functioned at a level above space. The Matan Torah transformed space. Now, why would God need to do that? Why would God need to do that? Because God wanted to change the world. In essence, God wanted to break the decree that now in the world we can accomplish that every Jew. Every human being can do that right now. And that's by learning, knowledge. Again, wisdom. When we learn wisdom, the chacham is not to learn wisdom that fits you. Then you'll never grow. You need to learn wisdom that's gonna demand you to break yourself, to work harder on it, right? If you're gonna give a person only wisdom, you're gonna dumb everything down and make everything for dumbbells that you're not gonna have to work on it. everybody's going to pass. Like, today, the teaching, everybody needs to get A's. And even if you don't know nothing, you still need to get A. Then there's no thriving to learning. If everything needs to be explained to you in a sipte that you don't need to work on it, then there's no chachma. Chachma demands that I need to thrive on it. I need to work on it. I need to do it. I need to excel, right? So the Rebbe applies the same principle, the concept of time. Similarly, even though the Torah was given in a certain point of time, the time which the Torah was given included within it all the moments of time. Not only did God change, the Kabbalah says, not only did God change space, He hung time. Time was changed. Just like the voice was single, simultaneously came in six directions. This reflects the fact that time itself was a function on a level which was above time. It was able to change the world. This is one reason why the Torah was given only once and will not be given again when Mashiach comes and a new depth of Torah will be revealed. So Torah was given once. There was one Matan Torah. There was one concept. Right? We know in 10 revelations, a new revelation. There's no new revelations. Why? Because if Torah was given in time, then there's another time. Then we need another time. Maybe there's different times, right? Oh, Torah was revealed then, but we're living in the 2000 area, so we need a new revelation. But since the Torah was given, the Torah transformed the time at that moment. So that's why there's no need for another revelation of time. We don't need another revelation. Because when the Torah was given, it changed the time. It transformed at that moment time. So it was a revelation essence for all times. There's no need for another revelation. There's no need for another giving of the Torah. When Mashiach comes, you'll have a deeper dimension to as the Torah itself. When the Torah was revealed, the Torah keeps on revealing itself. But that there needs to be another Matan Torah, that we need another revelation. There's no need for that. Why? Because at the moment the Torah was given, that moment, time was taken away. And it was above time. And why did the Eibush do that? Because the Eibush to God wanted us to say there's no other revelation. This is the revelation to the world, which is going to change the world forever. And now humans need to do it. Yeah.
The commandments I command you today.
Right. That's why it says today. Now why it says today. Why can it be today? Because at the moment God commanded it, it went above time. That's why it says if He commanded it right today. Because there's no time. Because when He revealed it, it was above time. That's why when He says something was revealed above time, means that there's no time. Today and yesterday and 3,000 years ago to that moment was the same thing. And therefore, now you understand why, now we understand where the Rebbe is going, that why it could be Chadoshim, that when you do the Torah, it could be Chadoshim, because in essence, God revealed it right now. Because when God revealed the Torah at Matan Torah in time, He revealed it, He changed the time at that moment, and time was not anymore time, and therefore, He revealed it that it will be revealed above time, that time is not relevant. And therefore, it's mamish like He revealed it right now. Which is a very interesting, deep concept. So since the giving of the Torah joined above time with time, and that's the important thing over here. The important thing, you see, that Rebbe keeps on stressing, that we're not trying to go away from time. That was to create a time. We're trying to express that within time was above time. Which is a paradox, right? Because it's in a regular mind, it doesn't make sense. You can't have within time. But that's why only God can reveal within time above time. Nobody else can reveal within time above time. That's why, in essence, when the Torah says you cannot change the Torah, you can change the rabbinical laws because they're in time and in time, but you cannot change the Torah because the Torah is above time. How can you change something that is not connected to time or space? So they're able to reveal the above time and space in space. Because then you can say, wait a minute, maybe the Torah is above time, and therefore it's above comprehension. It's above reality. No, the Torah revealed itself in time. To God, above time and in time is not a contradiction. to us might be a contradiction. Not to Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Kadosh Baruch Hu is the same thing.
Last night you were learning health was about taking a shower, and I think he said Rambam said you should take a hot shower, and then he said the Alter Rebbe said.
Yeah, Alter Rebbe didn't say a hot shower. I don't know. He doesn't take a shower.
Now we're all taking hot showers, and we're not
right.
So how did that evolve?
Well, because the body, the Rambam, it's actually the Rambam says the Rambam has hilchos of health, but he writes over there himself that humans can change. That in essence, I'm telling you the health. He tells you what to eat, what not to eat. All this kind of. It says that human body can change, and this can change. This can change. The body can change, and therefore that's what I'm telling you right now. It's not per se maybe forever, because the body, the able to create the body could change, and humans can change, and therefore it's not that's why it's a health reason. It's a body. It's connected to the body.
Everything is still within the framework of the Torah.
Right, but therefore the body could change. The body has changed. Okay. The human bodies have changed. We live in different parts of the world, and we changed the way our bodies function, the way our bodies heal themselves, the way our bodies deal with.
Mikvah should be ice cold.
No, the Alter Rebbe was the first one to make. No, the Alter Rebbe was the first one to make a hot mikveh. I don't know how hot it was, but a hot mikveh. He said we should have warm mikvehs. Should we want to go to the mikveh? A kalta mikveh. Who wants to break the ice to go to the mikveh? We should have ice.
Do we need all those sicknesses?
That's the issue. No, we don't need nothing. We should all be healthy and well. But our sicknesses come a lot, the Rambam says, from what we eat. We're not eating good food. Most food that we eat is not food anymore. It's all chemical.
It's like a man.
What? It's processed food. Right?
We have to be born with a menu.
No, what?
Time is not significant by the Torah.
Yeah, it is. Time is very significant. Time is very significant. No, 100%. That's why the point over here is it's above time in time. So you cannot go away from time. You have to, time is a time. But you have to find that within this time, I can bring out something that's above time. A timeless concept. Time is, nothing's easy. That's why God had to break it. Because when God breaks it, it means gives you the potential to do that.
Why there is many mitzvot that we can do on this time? We can do it.
Right?
It's in the Torah, we can do it.
Can't do it. That's what God wanted. Spiritually you can, but really you can't do it physically. So you can't do it. That's why you burn a Beis Hamikdash. We're praying for the Beis Hamikdash. What? No Beis Hamikdash. Simple as that.
But why we are out of this?
Because we don't have Beis Hamikdash. Because our sins, we have been chased out of the Beis Hamikdash, and we don't have the Beis Hamikdash. No. Again, the punishment. It's not a punishment. It's a process. It's a challenge. We need challenge. We need to challenge. We cannot be lazy. We got lazy. When it's too good, we get lazy. And when we get lazy, you get the human beings. When they get lazy, they get unaffected. They get. Okay, God, let's go weiter. Since the giver Torah joined above time with time by including all of time within the specific giving of the Torah that's why the Torah was given to all times. There's no concept of time by the Torah. Right? So no mitzvah has changed. You're not allowed to add. That's what the Torah says. You cannot add. You cannot subtract. Why? Because when I gave the Torah, it was everything in it. All time was already in it. Because the Torah was given above time. So therefore, you cannot add and subtract something that I've given that has no time. I can understand. If it's in time, I'll give it to you in time only. Then you can change. Times have changed. Even God knows times have changed. But I'm not giving you something that has connected to time. So every mitzvah Torah that's in time, at the same moment, it's a timeless concept. It's a timeless concept. And that is the beauty of Matan Torah, the Rebbe says. That's the beauty that happened in one moment of Matan Torah that affected the Torah from the beginning of time till the end of time. That's what the Gemara says. It's the expression of the Gemara. Kol ma shetal mevasil l'chadish. Anything that anybody will come and mechadish in the Torah, will come and expound and bring out in the Torah, hakol nitla. Everyone was given Mount Sinai because it was a timeless situation. So it was thus not revealed, but it was all there. Everything was there. There was nothing that was missing from the beginning of time till the end of time, which is no time, that was not given a Mount Torah, was not given on Mount Sinai. That's what the Gemara says. You have the famous expression, the Gemara says the story, Rabbi Moshe Rabbeinu was in Gan Eden, he was traveling in Gan Eden, and he came and he heard Rabbi Akiva is learning with the students. And he sat down to the class. He heard Rabbi Akiva is learning with students. He sat down to the class, and he didn't understand what's going on. He didn't understand what they were learning, right? They were learning something he didn't understand. Because Rabbi Akiva was Deidish, even the crowns of the Torah. He didn't understand what the guy was talking about. Chol Shadaita, he said, "Wow, I feel like I'm like a dumbbell over here. Like I don't know what's going on. They're learning Torah. I gave the Torah. I don't know what's going on." So he Chol Shadaita, the Eibishter saw that. So he had one of the students bother him, started to push him, started to argue with him. And Rabbi Akiva suddenly stopped and said, Halacha l'meish misinai. He said, listen, stop arguing with me. Halacha l'meish, that is what Moshe Rabbeinu said on Mount Sinai. Finished.
You forgot.
That's the finish. Halacha l'meish misinai. You can argue with me day to tomorrow. But halacha l'meish misinai. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu said. Moshe Rabbeinu felt good. Halacha l'meish misinai. Stop arguing with me. All this I'm trying to explain to you is just to give you understanding. But the point is, if you don't understand, halacha l'meish misinai. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu said. This is the way it is. You know, in general, halacha l'meish misinai is a powerful, so to say, one-liner in the Gemara, which the Gemara uses, it's interesting thing that's in general, halacha l'meish misinai, that we have a concept which doesn't say in the Torah, doesn't even understanding the Gemara, and the Gemara says, halacha l'meish misinai. This is the way it is. This is the way Moshe Rabbeinu said it on Mount Sinai. This is the way it's done. End of story. Where is it written in the Torah? I don't know. Where is it written anywhere? I don't know. Halacha l'meish misinai. This is when Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Mount Sinai. He said, this is the way it is, and this is the way it is. Go argue with him. If you have any complaints, talk to Moshe Rabbeinu. This is what he said. This is what we're going to do. Expression another Gemara. Einonu al divrei ben Amram. We only have what Ben Amram, the son of Amram, said. This is what he said. This is what we do. End of story. You want to argue? You want to complain? You want to kvetch? Have a good day. Halacha meish misinai. That's the way it is. So the Rebbe continues and says, "Chodesh Sivan marked the completion of the Jews' preparation." Right? I'm sorry. Already experienced the given Torah, and therefore the Torah does not need to be given again. Same concept that applied today. Chodesh Sivan. Chodesh Sivan was a day when the Jewish people came to the Mount Sinai. Chodesh Sivan marked the completion of the Jews' preparation to giving the Torah. On this day, as this was a day when they completed the refinement of the three main midas is chesed, gevurah, tiferet. They went through their journey in the final weeks of Sfiras Hayim, right? The Jewish people counted from the time they went out of Mitzrayim, and here they came to the last midah, the last 7 days. The last 7 days of their readying to Torah. This enabled them to achieve the bittul necessary to the city. So in essence, the Jewish people did do an avodah. They did avodah of 50 days. Which in Chassidus is the Avodah, in Kabbalah, the Avodah, the 7 midas, 7 times 7, which is 49. The Jewish people refined themselves, they worked themselves, they came from slaves to be able to receive the Torah, which is an unbelievable. You have to realize, that they were called in the Gemara, Zayah Shor, they were called a Der Deya. This was a generation of great knowledge. They were Der Deya. They were extremely, you have to understand, for them to understand that they had leaders like Moshe Rabbeinu, Shimon Zakanim, Aaron HaKohen. That shows you what kind of generation they were. Okay, and they can argue with Moshe Rabbeinu, and they can, it's time not to imagine today somebody argues with Moshe Rabbeinu. Who are you? You're the Chagonish, right? These were people, were not simple people. They were that Moshe Rabbeinu deals with Kairach, and he deals with Dasan Aviram, and he deals with these guys because they were big Talmidei Chachamim. These were not simple people. These were great knowledgeable people. These were not, just people like, they were slaves. They were like, cleaners, toilet cleaners. These were Deya. This was we don't understand. This was a generation that had great, unbelievable knowledge. The Gemara says it was not a Pashto generation, and therefore they struggled. And that's you understand why they struggled, because since they had such unbelievable knowledge, they were not so easy to convince. Even though they had great revelations, and they had Moshe Rabbeinu, they had great leaders. I mean, who can have such great leaders? They had Rav Matan Torah, but there were such unbelievable geniuses that they didn't go. They didn't. You couldn't pass on them anything. You just couldn't pass on them anything. That's how they were Am Ksherev. If they would stam avodim, why were they Am Ksherev? Why the Eibishter says you're a stubborn neck nation? You're a bunch of slaves. You're a bunch of nobodies. You're a bunch of nobodies. No, Am Ksherev. These were tough people. These were smart people. They were tough people. Even God says they were tough because they were smart. They were not stam idiots. They challenged HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Asar Nisi, right? The Eibishter says, you challenge me 10 times. They challenged Moshe Rabbeinu, they challenged Aaron HaKohen, they challenged everybody. They were not pushovers, and they were Jews. But they were Jews not because always you say, they were slaves, there was slave mentality. They were far from the slave mentality, and they were extremely genius. But you just realize that also only 1/5 of the nation went out of Mitzrayim. So the other 4/5 died in Mitzrayim. So they were the creme de la creme of this nation that went out of Mitzrayim. It was not just a bunch of schleppers that went, a bunch of slave mentality people that went out of Mitzrayim. So they were, the narration realized they needed 50 days to refine themselves. They did refine themselves. They understood where their journey was. They understood what they're going to try to accomplish, these Jews. They understood it. They had a Moshe Rabbeinu, their leader, that told them what he was not talking to a bunch to the wall. He was talking to somebody, and he got them ready for Matan Torah. They had a revelation that was never before and never again, and they still had a challenge. And they still couldn't overcome themselves. But for 7 days they did. For a moment they did. For a moment they did.
If the 80% went out, we would be in trouble today.
It would be, yeah, you're 100% right. We would be in bigger trouble because you would have to have the slave mentality that went out. We would have a bunch of. That's what it says. We say to the Rasha, there were no Rishayim. Imagine. You say that you're Haggadah. If you were there, you wouldn't have been redeemed. That means you were not there. There were no Rishayim coming out of Mitzrayim. They were all great people.
600,000
tzaddikim. No, you say it immediately. You say it in your Haggadah. You tell the Rasha, if you were a Rasha at the time of Mitzrayim, you wouldn't have made it out. You would have died in Egypt. So therefore, there's no Rasha by the Jewish nation. They're all tzaddikim. So that's tzaddikim. Every Jew that came to Mitzrayim was a tzaddik, and they were great people, and they were not simple people. And that's how God deals with them, because He's not dealing with a bunch of Rishayim. He's not dealing with a bunch of nobodies. They were extremely genius people. They are extremely great knowledge people. So let's just realize that. Let's understand. That's what we learn from them, because we're not learning from some bunch of slaves that came out of Mitzrayim, bunch of nobodies that came out of Mitzrayim.